surprise me. Sir Charles Marlowe expected here this night. Where have you had your information?
You may depend upon it. I just saw his letter to Mr. Hardcastle, in which he tells him he intends setting out a few hours after his son.
Then, my Constance, all must be completed before he arrives. He knows me, and should he find me here, would discover my name and perhaps my designs to the rest of the family.
The jewels, I hope, are safe?
Yes, I have sent them to Marlowe, who keeps the keys to our baggage. In the meantime, I'll go to prepare matters for our elopement. I've had the lumpkin's promise of a pair of fresh horses, and should I not see him again, we'll write him further directions.
Well, success attend you. In the meantime, I'll go and amuse my aunt with the old pretense of a violent passion for my cousin.
I wonder what Hastings could mean by sending me so valuable a thing as a casket to keep for him, when he knows the only place I have is the seat of a post coach at an inn door. So unsafe. You fellow, have you deposited the casket with the landlady as I ordered you? Have you put it into her own hands?
Yes, Your Honor.
She said she'd keep it safe, did she?
Yes, she said she'd keep it safe enough. She asked me how I came by it, and she said she had a great mind to make me give an account of myself.
All right, Roger.
All right, sir.
Dismissed.
Aye.
Get out.
Oh, thank you, sir.
They're safe, however. What an unaccountable set of beings have we got amongst? This little barmaid, though, runs in my head most strangely and drives out the absurdities of all the rest of the family. She's mine. She must be mine, or I'm greatly mistaken.
Dear me, I quite forgot to tell Constance that I intended to prepare for our getaway at the bottom of the garden. Oh, Marlowe here, and in spirits too.
Ah, give me joy, George. Yes, sir. Crown me, shadow me with laurels. Well, George, after all, we modest fellows don't want for success among the women.
Some women, you mean? But what success has your Honour's modesty been crowned with now, that it grows so insolent upon us?
Didn't you see the tempting, brisk, lovely little thing that runs about the house with a bunch of keys to its girdle?
Well, and what then?
She's mine, you rogue, you. Such fire, such motion, such eyes, such lips. Egad, she would not let me kiss them, though.
But are you so sure, so very sure of her?
Why, man, she talked of showing me her work above stairs, and I am to improve the pattern.
But how can you, Charles, go about to rob a woman of her honor?
Oh, come now, we all know the honor of the barmaid of an inn. I don't intend to rob her, take my word for it. There's nothing in this house I shan't honestly pay for.
I believe this girl has virtue.
And if she has, I should be the last man in the world that would attempt to corrupt it.
Oh, you have taken care, I hope, of the casket I sent you to lock up. Is it in safety?
Yes, it's safe enough. I have taken care of it. But how could you think? The seat of a post coach at an inn door, a place of safety. Ah, numbskull! I have taken better precautions for you than you did for yourself, I have.
What?
I have sent it to the landlady to keep for you.
To the landlady!
The landlady!
You did!
I did! She is to be answerable for what's forthcoming, you know.
Oh, yes. She'll bring it forth with a vengeance.
Wasn't I right? I believe you'll allow that I acted prudently upon this occasion.
He must not see my uneasiness.
You seem uneasy, though, methinks. Sure nothing has happened?
No, nothing. Never was in better spirits in all my life. So, you left it to the landlady, who, no doubt, very readily undertook the charge?
Rather too readily, for she not only kept the casket, but, through her great precaution, was going to keep the messenger too!
Oh, they're safe, however!
As a guinea in a miser's purse.
So now all hopes of fortune are at an end, and we must set off without it. Well, Charles, I'll leave you to your meditations on the pretty barmaid, and may you be as successful for yourself as you have been for me.
Oh, thank ye, George. I ask no more.
I no longer know my own house. It's turned all topsy-turvy. His servants have got drunk, and I'll bear it no longer. And yet, for my father's respect for him, I'll be calm. Mr. Marlowe, your servant. I am your humble servant.
Sir, your humble servant. What's to be the wonder now?
I believe, sir, you must be sensible, sir, that no man alive ought to be more welcome than your father's son, sir. I hope you think so.
Well, I do from my soul, sir. I generally make my father's son welcome wherever he goes.
I believe you do, sir. From my soul, sir. But though I say nothing to your own conduct, that of your servants is insufferable. Their manner of drinking is setting a very bad example in this house, I assure you.
I protest, my very good sir, that is no fault of mine. If they don't drink as they ought, they are to blame. I ordered them not to spare the cellar, I did, I assure you. My positive directions were, as that I did not drink myself, they should make up for my deficiencies below.
Then they had your orders for what they do. I'm satisfied.
Oh, they had, I assure you.
Zooms. He'll drive me distracted if I contain myself any longer. Mr. Marlowe. Sir, I have submitted to your insolence for more than 4 hours and see no likelihood of it coming to an end. I'm resolved to be master here, so I'll desire that you and your drunken pack may leave my house directly.
Leave your house? Sure you jest, my good friend. What? When I'm doing what I can to please you?
Oh, I tell you, sir, you don't please me, so I'll desire you'll leave my house.
Sure you cannot be serious. At this time of night, and such a night, you only mean to banter me.
I tell you, sir, I am serious. Now that my passions are roused, I must say this house is mine, sir. This house is mine. So I'll command that you leave it directly.
A puddle in a storm, I shan't stir a step, I assure you. This your house, fellow? It's my house. This is my house. Mine? Well, I choose to stay. What right have you to bid me leave this house, sir? I never met with such impudence. Curse me, never in my whole life before.
Nor I. Confound me if ever I did, to come to my house, to call for what he likes, to turn me out of my chair, to insult the family, to order his servants to get drunk, and then to tell me this house is mine, sir. By all that's impudent, it makes me laugh. Ha, ha, ha. Pray, sir, as you take the house, what do you think of taking the rest of the furniture? There's a pair of silver candlesticks, and here's a fire screen, and here's a pair of brazen-nosed bellows. Perhaps you may take a fancy to them.
Bring me your bill, sir. Bring me your bill, and let's make no more words on it.
There's a set of prints, too. Tell me, what you think of Rake's Progress for your own apartment?
Bring me your bill, sir, and I'll leave you in your infernal house directly.
Then here's the polished table where you may see your own face.
My bill, I say.
Oh, I had forgot the great chair for your particular slumbers after a hearty meal.
Zoons, bring me my bill, I say, and let's hear no more on it.
Young man, from your father's letter to me, I was taught to expect a well-bred, modest man as a visitor here. But now I find him no better than a coxcomb and a bully. But he shall be here presently, and shall hear more of it.
How's this? Sure I have not mistaken the house. Everything looks like an inn. The servant's cry coming, the attendance is awkward, the barmaid too to attend us. Oh, but she's here and will further inform me. Whither so fast? A word with you.
Let it be short then, I'm in a hurry. I believe he begins to find out his mistake. but it's too soon quite to undeceive him.
Pray, answer me one question. What are you, and what may your business in this house be?
A relation of the family, sir.
What, a poor relation?
Yes, sir. Poor relation appointed to keep the keys and see the guests want nothing in my power to give them.
That is, you act as the barmaid of this inn.
Inn? Oh, law, inn? What put that in your head? One of the best families in the country keep an inn. Old Mr. Hardcastle's house an inn.
Mr. Hardcastle's house? Is this Mr. Hardcastle's house?
Aye, whose else should it be?
So then all's out, and I have been incredibly imposed upon. Oh, confound my stupid head! I shall be laughed at over the whole town. To mistake this house of all others for an inn, and my father's old friend for an innkeeper? Oh no! What a swaggering puppy must he take me for? What a silly puppy do I find myself? There again may I be hanged, my dear, for I mistook you for the barmaid.
Dear me, I hope there's nothing in my behavior to put me on one of that stamp.
Nothing, my dear, nothing. My stupidity saw everything the wrong way. I mistook your assiduity for assurance and your simplicity for allurement. Oh, but it's over. This house I no more show my face in.
I hope, sir, that I have done nothing to disoblige you. I'm sure I should be sorry to affront any gentleman who has been so polite and said so many civil things to me. I'm sure I should be sorry if he left the family upon my account, and I'm sure I should be sorry if people said anything amiss, for I have no fortune but for my character. Excuse me.
By heaven, she weeps. This is the first mark of tenderness I ever had from a modest woman, and it touches me. Excuse me, my lovely girl. You are the only part of the family I leave with reluctance. But to be plain with you, the difference of our birth, fortune, and education makes an honorable connection impossible. And I can never harbor a thought of seducing simplicity that trusted in my honor, of bringing ruin upon one whose only fault was being too lovely.
Generous man, I now begin to admire him. But I'm sure my family is as good as Miss Hardcastle's, and though I'm poor, that's no great misfortune to a contented mind, and until now I never thought it bad to want a fortune.
And why now, my pretty simplicity?
Because it puts me from a distance from one that if I had 1,000 pounds, I'd give it all to.
This simplicity bewitches me so that if I stay, I'm undone. I must make one bold effort and leave her. Your partiality in my favor, my dear, touches me most sensibly. And were I to live for myself alone, I could easily fix my choice. But I owe too much to the opinion of the world, to the authority of a father, so that I can scarcely speak it. It affects me. Farewell.
I never knew half his merit till now. shall not go. For if I have power or art to detain him, I'll still preserve the character in which I stoop to conquer, but will undeceive my papa, who perhaps may laugh him out of his resolution. Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho!
Why, you may steal for yourselves the next time. I have done my duty. She has got the jewels again, that's a sure thing. But she believes it was all a mistake of the servants.
But my dear cousin, sure you won't forsake us in this distress. If she in the least suspects that I am going off, I shall certainly be locked up, or sent to my Aunt Pedigree's, which is 10 times worse.
To be sure, aunts of all kinds are such bad things. But what can I do? I have got you a pair of horses that will fly like Whistlejacket, and you can't say but I have courted you nicely before her face. She's coming. We must court a bit or two more for fear she should suspect us. Come, my petal.
Oh, Tony, my angel.
Well, I was greatly flattered to be sure, but my son tells me it was all a mistake of the servants. I shan't be easy, however, till they are fairly married, and then let her keep her own fortune. But what do I see? Cuddling together as I'm alive. I never saw Tony so sprightly before. Have I caught you, my pretty doves? What, billing, exchanging stolen glances and murmurs?
As for murmurs, we grumble here now, to be sure, but there's no love lost between us.
A mere sprinkling, Tony, upon the flame will need to make it burn brighter.
Cousin Tony promises to give us more of his company at home. Indeed, he shan't leave us any more. It won't leave us, Cousin Tony, will you?
Oh, it's a pretty creature. No, I'd sooner leave my horse in a pound than leave you. When you smile upon one so, your laugh is so becoming.
Agreeable cousin. Who can help admiring that natural humor? That pleasant, broad, red, thoughtless. Oh, it's a bold face.
Pretty innocent.
I'm sure I always loved Cousin Con's hazel eyes and her pretty long fingers that twist this way and that way over the harpsichords like a parcel of bobbins.
He would charm the bird from the tree. I was never so happy before. The jewels, my dear Con, shall be yours incontinently. You shall have them. Oh, isn't he such a sweet boy, my dear? You shall be married tomorrow and will put off the rest of his education to a fitter opportunity.
Where's the squire? I've got a message for your worship.
Give it to my mama, Diggory. She takes all my messages.
I had orders to deliver it to your own ears.
Who does it come from?
Your worship must ask that of the message itself.
I could wish to know, though.
Undone, undone. A message to him from Hastings. If my aunt hears it, we are ruined forever. I'll keep her employed a little if I can.
Tick-tock. Oh, what is... I see. Yeah. Woo! 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 Woo!
A shorty pair of headphones as I ever used in my life. I can hear the message well enough, but they're such pops and static. Yeah. To Anthony Lumpkin Esquire. Yes, I hear my own name well enough, but when it comes to the rest, it's all buzz. That's hard, very hard, for the rest of the message, the stream of correspondence. My dear sir, Then there's an M, and a T, and an S. Confound me, I cannot tell.
What's that, my dear? Can I give you assistance?
Pray, Aunt, let me listen. Nobody hears better than I.
Here.
Do you know who 'tis from?
Can't tell except from Dick Ginger the feeder.
Aye, so it is. Dear Squire, hoping that you are in health as I am at this present, the gentleman of the Shake Bag Club has cut the gentleman of Goose Green quite out of feather. The odds, here, it's all about fighting. It's of no consequence. Here, put it up.
Dear Squire, I'm now waiting for Miss Neville with a post-chaise and pair at the bottom of the garden, but I find my horses yet unable to perform the journey. I expect you'll assist us with a pair of fresh horses as you promised. Dispatch is necessary as the hag your mother will otherwise suspect us. Yours, Hastings.
Grant me patience, I shall run distracted, my rage chokes
I hope, madam, you'll suspend your resentment for a few moments and not impute to me any impertinence or sinister design that belongs to another.
Fine spoken, madam. You are most miraculously polite and engaging and quite the very pink of courtesy and circumspection, madam. And you great ill-fashioned oaf with scarce enough sense to keep your mouth shut, were you too joined against me? But I'll defeat all your plots in a moment. As for you, madam, since you have got a pair of fresh horses ready, it would be cruel to disappoint them. So, if you please, instead of running away with your spark, prepare this very moment to run off with me! Your old Aunt Pedigree will keep you secure, I'll warrant me. You too, sir, may mount your horse and guard us upon the way. Here, Roger, Diggory, Pickle! I'll show you that I wish you better than you do yourselves.
So now I'm completely ruined.
Aye, that's a sure thing.
What better could be expected from being connected with such a stupid fool? And after all the nods and signs I made you.
By the laws, miss, it was your own cleverness, not my stupidity that did your business. You were so nice and busy with your shake bags and goose greens. I never thought you could be making believe.
So, sir, I find by my servant that you've shown my letter and betrayed us. Was this well done, young gentleman?
Here's another. Ask Miss there who betrayed you. It God it was her doing, not mine.
So, I have been finely used here among you, rendered contemptible, driven into ill manners, despised, insulted, laughed at.
Here's another. We shall have old Bedlam broke loose presently.
And there, sir, is the gentleman, Tony Lumpkin, Esquire, to whom we all owe every obligation.
What can I say to him? A mere boy, an idiot whose ignorance and age are a protection?
A poor, contemptible booby.
Roger.
You would but disgrace correction.
yet with cunning and malice enough to make himself merry with all our embarrassment.
An insensible cub.
Replete with tricks and mischief.
I'll fight you both, one after the other, with baskets.
As for him, he's below resentment, but your conduct, Mr. Hastings, requires an explanation. You knew of my mistakes, yet would not undeceive me.
Tortured as I am with my own disappointments, is this a time for explanations? It is not friendly, Marlowe.
But sir,
I will
Mr.
not...
Marlowe, we never kept on your mistake until it was too late to undeceive you.
Miss Constance, Mrs. Ardcastle desires you'll get ready immediately, madam. The horses are put into, your hat and things are in the next room. You have to go 30 miles by morning.
Well, I'll come presently.
Was it well done, sir? To assist in rendering me ridiculous, to hang me out for the scorn of all my acquaintance. Depend upon it, sir. I shall expect an explanation.
Was it well done, sir, if you're upon that subject? To deliver what I entrusted to you to the care of another, sir?
Does a handshake
Mr.
mean nothing
Hastings,
to you?
Mr. Marlowe, why will you increase my distress by this groundless dispute? I implore, I entreat you.
You'll need your cloak, madam. She's impatient.
All right, Pickle, I come. Pray, be pacified, George. If I leave you thus, I shall die with apprehension.
You'll also need your fan, muff, and gloves, madam. The horses are waiting.
Oh, Mr. Marlowe, if you knew what a scene of constraint and ill nature lies before me, I'm sure it would convert your resentment into pity.
I am so distracted with a variety of passions that I don't know what I do. Forgive me, madam. George, forgive me. You know my hasty temper and should not exasperate it.
The torture of my situation is my only excuse.
Well, my dear Hastings, if you have that esteem for me that I think that I'm sure that you have, your constancy for 3 years will but increase the happiness of our future connection.
Miss Neville! Constance! Why, Constance, I say!
I'm coming! Well, constancy. Remember, constancy is the word.
Oh, my heart! But how do I support it? To be so near happiness, and such happiness!
You see now, young Lumpkin, the effects of your folly? What might be amusement to you is here disappointment and even distress.
The cord, I have hit it! It's here! Your hands, my poor sulky Hastings! My coat! Ho! Meet me 2 hours hence at the bottom of the garden. If you don't find Tony Lumpkin a more good-natured fellow than you thought for, I give you leave to take my best horse. And Bet Bouncer into the bargain. Come along! My coat! Ho! Ah! Ho!
Six, 7, 10. Oh.
Pickle! Pickle! Pickle!
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, Pickle! Did you see the old lady and Miss Neville drive off?
Yes, Your Honor. They went off in a post coach. The young squire went on horseback. They're 30 miles off by this time.
Then all my hopes are over!
Yes, sir. The old Sir Charles has arrived. He and the old gentleman of the house have been laughing at Mr. Marlowe's mistake this half hour. They're probably coming this way.
Then I must not be seen. So now to my fruitless appointment at the bottom of the garden. This is about the time.
The peremptory tone in which he sent forth his sublime commands.
And the reserve with which I suppose he treated all your advances.
And yet, he could have seen something in me too above a common innkeeper.
Yes, Dick, but he mistook you for an uncommon innkeeper.
Well, I'm in too good of spirits to think of anything but joy. Yes, my dear friend, this union of our families will make our personal friendship hereditary. And though my daughter's fortune is but small...
Why, Dick, will you talk of fortune to me? My son is possessed of more than a competence already, and can want nothing but a good and virtuous girl in which to share his happiness and increase it. If they like each other as you say they do.
If, man, I tell you, they do like each other. My daughter as good as told me so.
But girls are apt to flatter themselves, you know.
I saw him grasp her hand in the warmest manner myself. Here he comes to put you out of your ifs, I warned him. Here, stand behind.
I come, sir, once more to ask pardon for my strange conduct. I can scarce reflect on my insolence without confusion.
Oh boy, a trifle. You take it too gravely. An hour or two's laughing with my daughter will set all to rights again. She'll never like you the worse for it.
Sir, I shall be always proud of her approbation.
Approbation is but a cold word, Mr. Marlowe. If I'm not deceived, you have something more than approbation thereabouts. You take me?
Really, sir, I have not that happiness.
Come, boy, I'm an old fellow and know what's what, as well as you that are younger. I know what has passed between you.
Sure, sir, nothing has passed between us but the most profound respect on my side and the most distant reserve on hers. You don't think, sir, that my impudence has been passed upon all the rest of the family?
Impudence? No, I don't say that. Not quite impudence, though girls like to be played with and rumpled a little too sometimes. But she has told no tales, I assure you.
I never gave her the slightest cause.
Well, I like modesty in its place well enough, but this is overacting, young gentleman. You may be open. Your father and I will like you all the better for it.
May I die,
now, I'll
sir,
tell
if
you,
I ever...
she don't dislike you. And as I'm sure you like her,
Dear sir,
I
I
see
protest,
no
sir.
reason why you should not be joined as fast as the parson can tie you.
but hear me,
Your
sir,
father approves of the march. I admire it, and every moment's delay will be doing mischief. So,
But why won't you hear me? By all that's just and true, I never gave Miss Hardcastle the slightest mark of my attachment, or even the most distant hint to suspect me of affection. We had but one interview, and that was formal, modest, and uninteresting.
This fellow's formal, modest impudence is beyond bearing.
And you never grasped her hand, or made any protestations?
Father, as heaven is my witness, I came down in obedience to your commands. I saw the lady without emotion and parted without reluctance. I hope you'll exact no further proofs of my duty, nor prevent me in leaving such a house where I suffer so many mortifications. Forgive me.
I'm astonished at the air of sincerity with which he parted.
And I'm astonished at the deliberate intrepidity of his assurance.
I dare pledge my life and honor upon his truth.
Here comes my daughter, and I would stake my happiness upon her veracity. Kate, come hither, child. Answer us sincerely and without reserve. Has Mr. Marlowe made you any professions of love and affection?
The question is very abrupt, sir, but since you require unreserved sincerity, I think he has.
You see?
And pray, madam, have you and my son had more than one interview?
Yes, sir, several.
You see?
But did he profess any attachment?
A lasting one.
Did he talk of love?
Much, sir.
Amazing. And all this formally?
Formally.
Now, my friend, I hope you are satisfied.
And how did he behave, madam?
as most professed admirers do. Said some civil things of my face, talked much of his want of merit and the greatness of mine, mentioned his heart, gave a short tragedy speech, and then ended with pretended rapture.
I know his conversation among women to be modest and submissive. This forward, canting, ranting manner by no means describes him, and I am confident he never sat for the picture.
Then what, sir? If I should convince you to your face of my sincerity, if you and my papa in about half an hour will place yourselves behind that screen, you shall hear him declare his passions to me in person.
Agreed. And if I find him what you describe, all my happiness in him must have an end.
And if you don't find him what I describe, I fear my happiness might never have a beginning.
What an idiot am I, to wait here in the garden for a fellow who probably takes a delight in mortifying me. He never intended to be punctual, and I'll wait no longer. What do I see? It is he, and perhaps with news of my Constance. My dear squire, I now find you a man of your word. This looks like friendship.
I'm your friend. The best friend you have in the world, if you knew but all. This riding by the by is cursedly tiresome. It has shook me worse than the basket of a stagecoach.
But how? Where did you leave your fellow travelers? Are they in safety? Are they housed?
25 miles in 3 hours is not such bad riding. The poor beasts have smoked. Rabbit me, but I'd rather ride 40 miles after a fox than 10 with such vermin.
Well, but where have you left the ladies? I die with impatience.
Left them? Why, where would I leave them but where I had found them?
Oh, this is a riddle.
Riddle me this then. What goes round the house and round the house, but never touches the house?
I'm astray.
That's it! I have led them astray. Here. You're the house.
I'm the house.
Ladies?
Hey!
I have led them astray.
Oh, now I understand. You took them in a round while they supposed themselves going forward and have at last brought them home again.
You shall hear. I first took them down Featherbed Lane, where we stuck fast in the mud. I then rattled them over the stones of up and downhill, then introduced them to the gibbet on Heavy Tree Heath, and with circumbendius I fairly lodged them in the pond at the bottom of the garden.
But no accidents, I hope?
No, only Mother is confoundedly frightened. She thinks herself 40 miles off. She's sick of the journey, the horses can scarce crawl. So, if your own horse is all ready, you are prepared to whip off with cousin.
Oh, my dear friend, how can I be grateful? Oh, but I must hasten to relieve Miss Neville. If you keep the old lady employed, I promise to take care of the young one.
Never fear me. Vanish! She's got from the pond and dragged up to the waist like a mermaid. Go!
Tony, I'm killed! Shook, battered to death, I shall never survive it. That last jolt that laid us against the quickset hedge has done my business.
Oh, God, Mama, you would be for running away by night without knowing an inch of the way.
I wish we were at home again. I never encountered so many accidents in so short a journey. Drenched in the mud, overturned in a ditch, stuck fast in a slough, jolted to a jelly, and at last lose our way. Whereabouts do you think we are, Tony?
By my guess, We should come upon Crackskull Common, about 40 miles from home.
Oh lad, the most notorious spot in all the country. We only want a robbery to make a complete night of it.
Don't be afraid, Mama. Don't be afraid. 2 of the 5 that are kept here are hanged already, and the others may not find us. Don't be afraid. Do you see? A man galloping behind us. Oh, no, it's only a tree. Don't be afraid, Mama. Don't be afraid.
As I'm alive, the fright shall certainly kill me.
Do you see anything like a black hat moving behind the thicket?
Oh, death.
Oh, no, it's only a cow. Don't be afraid, Mama. Don't be afraid.
Oh, as I'm alive, Tony, I see a man coming towards us. Oh, I'm sure of it. If he perceives us, we are undone.
Stepfather, by all that's unlucky, come to take one of his night walks. It's a highwayman with pistols as long as my arm. An ill-looking fellow.
Good heaven defend us! He approaches.
Do hide yourself over there and leave me to manage him. If there be any danger, I'll cough. Ahem. If I cough, be sure to keep close.
I'm mistaken, or I heard voices of people in want of help. Oh, Tony, is that you? I did not expect you so soon back. Are your mother and her charge in safety?
Very safe, sir, at my Aunt Pedigree's. Ahem.
Oh, death! I find there's danger!
40 miles in 3 hours? Sure, that's too much, my youngster.
Stout horses and willing minds make for short journeys, as they say, sir.
Sure, he'll do the dear boy no harm.
But I thought I heard a voice here. I should be glad to know from whence it came.
It was I, sir, talking to myself, sir. I was saying that 40 miles in 4 hours is not such bad driving. Ahem. As sure it was, sir. Ahem. I have a bit of a cough, being out in the night air. We'll go in if you don't mind.
But if you talk to yourself, you did not answer yourself. I'm certain I heard 2 voices, and I'm resolved to find the other out.
What need you go, sir? If I tell you, I'll let him alive for the truth, sir. I'll tell you all, sir.
I'll tell you, I'll not be detained. I insist on saying it's vain to expect I'll believe you.
Oh, he's going to murder my poor boy, my darling. Here, good Mr. Highwayman, wake your rage upon me. Take my money, my life, but spare that young gentleman. Spare my child if you have any mercy.
My wife, as I'm a Christian, from whence can she come, or what does she mean?
Take compassion on us, good Mr. Highwayman. Take our money, our homes, all that we have, but spare our lives. We will never bring you to justice. Indeed, we won't, good Mr. Highwayman.
I believe the woman's out of her senses. What? Dorothy? Don't you know me?
Mr. Hardcastle, as I'm alive. My fears blinded me, but who, my dear, could have expected to meet you here in this frightful place so far from home? What brought you to follow us?
Sure, Dorothy, you have not lost your wits. So far from home, and you're within 40 yards of your own door. Oh, this is one of your old tricks, you graceless rogue, you. Don't you know the gate and the mulberry tree? And don't you remember the horse pond, my dear?
Yes, I shall remember the horse pond as long as I live. I have caught my death in it. And it is to you, you graceless varlet, I owe all this. I'll teach you to abuse your mother, I will!
Be heard, Mama! All the parish says you have spoiled me. So you may take the fruits of it.
I'll spoil you, I will!
There's morality, however, in his reply.
My dear Constance, why must you deliberate thus? If we delay a moment, all is lost forever. Pluck up a little resolution, and we shall soon be out of the reach of her malignity.
I find it impossible. My spirits are so sunk with the agitations that I have suffered that I am unable to face any new danger. 2 or 3 years' patience will at last crown us with happiness.
No, such a tedious delay is worse than inconstancy. Let us fly, my charmer. Let us date our happiness from this very moment. Perish fortune. Let love and content increase what we possess beyond a monarch's revenue. Let me prevail.
No, Mr. Hastings. No. Prudence once more comes to my relief, and I will obey its dictates. In the moment of passion, fortune may be despised, but it ever produces a lasting repentance. I am resolved to apply to Mr. Hardcastle's compassion and justice for redress.
But even if he wished to, he has not the power to relieve you.
But he has influence, and upon that I'm resolved to rely.
I have no hopes. But since you persist, I must reluctantly obey you.
What a situation I am in. If what you say appears, I shall find a guilty son. If what he says be true, I shall then lose you. And I most wished for a daughter-in-law.
I am proud of your approbation, sir. And to show I merit it, if you place yourselves as I directed, you shall hear his explicit declaration. But he comes.
I'll to your father, and keep him to the appointment.
Miss, though prepared for setting out, I come once more to take leave. Nor did I, till this moment, know the pain I feel in separation.
I believe sufferings cannot be very great, sir, which you can so easily remove. A day or two longer perhaps might lessen your uneasiness by showing you the little value of what you now think proper to regret.
This girl every moment improves upon me. It must not be, madam. I have already trifled too long with my heart. My very pride begins to submit to my passion. The disparity of education and fortune, the anger of a parent, and the contempt of my equals begin to lose their weight. And nothing can restore me to myself but this painful effort of resolution.
Then go, sir. I'll urge nothing more than to detain you. Though my family be as good as hers that you came down to visit, and my education I hope not inferior, what are these advantages without equal affluence? I must remain contented with slight approbations of imputed merit. I must only have the mockery of your addresses while all your serious aims are fixed on fortune.
Here, behind the screen!
Oi, make no noise. I'll engage my Kate covers him with confusion at last.
By heavens, madam, fortune was ever my smallest consideration. Your beauty at first caught my eye, for who could see that without emotion? But every time I converse with you, it steals in some new grace, heightens the picture, and gives it stronger expression. What at first seemed rustic plainness now appears refined simplicity. what seemed forward assurance now strikes me as the result of courageous innocence and conscious virtue.
What can it mean? He amazes me.
I told you how it would be. Hush!
I am now determined to stay, madam, and I have too good an opinion of my father's discernment when he sees you to doubt his approbation.
No, Mr. Marlowe, I will not and cannot detain you. Do you think I could ever submit to a connection which there is the smallest room of repentance? Do you think I would take the mean advantage of a transient passion to load you with confusion? Do you think I could ever relish that happiness which is acquired by lessening yours?
By all that's good, I can have no happiness but what is in your power to grant me. Nor shall I ever feel repentance but in not having seen your merits before. I will stay, even contrary to your wishes, and though you should persist to shun me, I will make my respectful assiduities atone for the levity of my past conduct.
Sir, I must entreat you'll desist. As our acquaintance began, so let it end in indifference. I might have given an hour or two to levity, but seriously, Mr. Marlowe, do you think I could ever submit to a connection which I must be a mercenary and you imprudent? Do you think I could ever catch the confident addresses of a secure admirer?
Does this look like security? Here on my knees, does this look like confidence? No, madam, every moment that shows me your merit only serves to increase my diffidence and confusion. Here, let me continue.
I can hold it no longer. Charles, how hast thou deceived me? Is this your indifference? Your uninteresting conversation?
Your cold contempt? Your formal interview? What have you to say now?
That I'm all amazement. What can it mean?
It means that you can say and unsay things at pleasure. It means that you can address a lady in private, then deny it in public. It means that you have one story for us, and then another for my daughter.
Daughter? This lady, your daughter?
Yes, sir. My only daughter, my Kate. Who else should she be?
Oh, the devil!
Yes, sir. That very identical, tall, squinting lady you were pleased to take me for. She that you addressed as the mild, modest, sentimental man of gravity and the agreeable rattle of the ladies' club.
Oh, there's no bearing this. It's worse than death.
Oh, which of your characters, sir, will you give us leave to address you? As the stammering gentleman with looks on the ground and speaks just to be heard and hates hypocrisy, or the loud, confident creature that keeps up with Mrs. Mantrap and old Miss Biddy Buckskin till 3 in the morning?
Oh, curse on my noisy head. I never attempted to be impudent yet that I was not taken down. I must be gone.
By the hand of my body, but you shall not. I see it was all a mistake, and I am rejoiced to find it. You shall not, sir, I tell you. I know she'll forgive you. Won't you forgive him, Kate? We'll all forgive you. Take courage, man.
Come, Mr. Marlowe, I shall not torment you.
Yes.
So, they're gone off. Let them go, I care not.
No. Dorothy. Who gone?
My dutiful niece and her gentleman, Mr. Hastings from town. He who arrived with our modest visitor here.
Who? My honest George Hastings. As worthy a fellow as lives, and the girl could not have made a more prudent choice.
Then by the hand of my body, I'm proud of the connection.
Well, if he has taken away the lady, he has not taken her fortune. That remains in this family to console us for her loss.
Sure, Dorothy, you would not be so mercenary.
Aye, that's my affair, not yours.
But you know, if your son, when of age, refuses to marry his cousin, her whole fortune is then at her own disposal.
Aye, but he's not of age, and she's not thought proper to wait for his refusal.
Mr. Hardcastle, sir.
What? Returned so soon? I begin not to like it.
For my late attempt to fly off with your niece, let my present confusion be my punishment. We are now come back to appeal from your justice to your humanity. By her father's consent, I first paid her my addresses, and our passions were first founded in duty.
Since his death, I have been obliged to stoop to dissimulation to avoid oppression. In an hour of levity, I was ready to give up my fortune to secure my choice. But I am now recovered from the delusion, and hope from your tenderness what is denied me from a nearer connection.
Oh, this is all but the whining ending of a modern novel.
Be what it will! I'm glad they've come back to reclaim their due. Come hither, Tony boy. Do you refuse this lady's hand, whom I now offer you?
What signifies my refusing? You know I can't refuse her till I'm of age, father.
While I thought concealing your age, boy, was likely to conduce to your improvement, I concurred with your mother's desire to keep it a secret. But now that I find she turns it to a wrong use, I must now declare that you have been of age these past 3 years.
Months.
3 months.
Of age? Am I of age, father?
But 3 months.
Then you'll see the first use I make of my liberty. Witness by all these presents that I, Anthony Lumpkin, Esquire of this place, refuse Constania Neville, spinster of no place at all, as my true and lawful wife. So, Constance Neville may marry whoever she chooses, and Tony Lumpkin is his own man again.
Oh, brave squire.
My worthy friend.
I am beautiful of faith.
Oh, joy, my dear George! I give you joy sincerely. Yes, sir. And could I prevail upon my little tyrant here to be less arbitrary, I should be the happiest man alive if you would return me the favor.
Come, madam. You are now driven to the very loss of all your contrivances. I know you like him, and I'm sure he loves you, and you must and shall have him.
And I say so too. And Mr. Marlowe, if she makes as good a wife as she has a daughter, I don't believe you shall ever repent your birth. So now to supper. Tomorrow we shall gather all the poor of the parish among us, and the mistakes of the night shall be crowned with a merry morning. So, boy, take her. And as you've been mistaken in the mistress, my wish is that you may never be mistaken in the wife.
So, having stooped to conquer with success and gained a husband without aid from dress,
still, as a barmaid, she could wish it too, as she has conquered him to conquer you.
And let me say, for all your resolution, that pretty barmaids have done execution.
Our life is all a play composed to please. We have our exits and our entrances.
Such through our lives, eventful history. And now, the final act remains for she.
The company now for your protection calls, turns cost of barristers, and pleads applause.